somewhere along the way, someone or multiple someones had suggested that this was not something that could be a sustainable career. And I think hearing that, a lot of people hear that, right? A lot of people who have a creative spark in them from an early age hear that. And I think they let it kind of settle in their brains and affect how they approach their life and their creativity. And I didn't realize this for a long time, but I had kind of had this creative block about being able to achieve any kind of success with it, or even, get a decent finished product and get it out there into the world. I think people don't realize how deep-seated some of those blocks can be. And I wish more people were aware that there's a way to get around them.
You are now listening to the podcast where authors inspire listeners to become authors, the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer, best-selling author, and book enthusiast, DomBrightmon. And you're going to be listening to a different author that will inspire you to join the business of immortality, known as authorship. Now let the fun begin. Today's episode is sponsored by both books, Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself, and the follow-up bestseller, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. Head over to Amazon.com, pick up both books. They are available in a trifecta of paperback, audio, and ebook. Cop all three of both and be on the lookout for another book from yours truly to help podcasters succeed. Now let's get on with today's episode. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as the Going North Podcast, we got another super special awesome human for you today that's cooler than 2 cucumbers indeed. That's right indeed. Courtesy of one of the best websites on planet Earth known as podmatch.com, the wonderful site where podcast guests get to connect with podcast hosts. And if they're cool, they're freaking in. Today's guest, as I said before, is cooler than 2 cucumbers. At this point, 4, because I said 2 cucumber joke twice already, but my goodness, that's beside the fact, because today's wonderful guest is a best-selling bookcaster, y'all. So not only have they joined the business of immortality known as authorship, they've also started a podcast as well. So that means they are a bookcaster. You know how to start a podcast while rocking the mic and the pen. And to put even more icing on the cake, she's an animal lover, corporate communications consultant, writing coach, and the founder of the Creativity Lab. So that's right, folks. You are going to have Albert Einstein hair 10 times big after having some wonderful time with this lovely lady right here. So let's give it up for the LM to the CC, the lovely Liz Mugavero, AKA Miss Cate Conte. How you doing today, Liz?
Hey, Dom. Thank you for the intro. I love the bookcaster title. I'm going to start using that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Indeed, that's right. Indeed. Gotta have the best of both worlds. She's putting her voice on the mic and her hand on the pen.
Love it.
That's right, indeed. In this case, she's a handy woman. She ain't a handy man.
Oh, you're funny.
Yeah, you thought this was a podcast interview.
Just coming up with all new kinds of names. I love it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, indeed. They go from good to better to best to sometimes worse every now and then, but then back to best.
It's all good.
Oh, yeah, that's right, indeed. It's good with all the O's. It's good. And I know what else is good is you, because my goodness, you're like a walking book of fantasy because of all the wonderful lives you live through, the books you've put out into the world, and all your wonderful curiosity. So my goodness, so did you see yourself becoming a best-selling bookcast at the age of 13?
I always had this podcast thing, no, but the books, yes, that I always wanted to write books. I used to take books off my mother's bookshelf when I was a kid, and she had that, an old typewriter, and I used to sit there and type out chapters just to feel like what it would feel like to eventually do that for myself.
So it must have felt good enough. She's got a bunch of books out there, if I'm not mistaken, at least 10 minimum, right?
So my 18th just came out Tuesday this past week.
Oh my God, you're freaking legal. All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Right, indeed. So typewriters and mysteries. That's right. Because your grandfather was a detective too, right?
He was. And I really think that he was the one who, because I always kind of wondered, like, my parents were both teachers and they were, very practical. And nobody was really a writer in my family, but my grandfather, I realized much later, was just a storyteller, though he did it, with his voice and his words. So he was also a detective at night because he worked as a stonemason during the day. So this was his second career. And he used to love to tell me stories. I mean, I think he toned them down a bit because I was pretty young when he was doing this, but he would always tell me the stories about what he would be doing at night when he was policing. And I was just fascinated from day one with crime, which alarmed my parents, I think.
Surprised you didn't become a cop or detective yourself.
I thought about it. I actually thought about it. When I was going through a major transition in my life, I did debate taking the test to be a police officer. But then I decided that I was probably better suited for fantasizing about it and, doing the research and working it from my side of the desk versus the other side. So this way I get the best of both worlds. I don't actually have to be shot at, but I can still tell the stories.
So no uniform by day, but cop uniform with a witch's hat on Halloween. Gotcha.
Totally.
It's like, hello, Miss Officer. Oh, shoot, she's got a witch's hat. She's got spells and bullets. All right.
Totally.
But in this case, the bullets are letters. So by goodness, I'm finally jumping into the business of immortality after getting your master's, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I got a master's in writing and publishing from Emerson College in Boston. And then I had to figure out what I wanted to do with it. So I knew I wanted to write something, but at the time I hadn't really connected the dots yet about writing crime. So I suddenly realized, hey, you read all these mysteries. Why don't you start writing them? And at the time, I had a friend who, I still have a friend who's in the funeral business. So my first series that has not yet been published that I started writing was based on a person who ran a funeral home. And from there, I decided that I needed to meet people who wrote mysteries and crime and get involved in the community. So I started researching crime writers conferences and I found the New England Crime Bake. And that was, gosh, I'm dating myself now, but that was 25-ish years ago. And it was the best thing I ever did going to Crime Bake. It was local to me. It was in the Boston area. And I've been basically going ever since. That's where I found the people that I could resonate the most with. That's where I learned how to master my craft, even more so than going to school for it. It's where I learned how to pitch and edit and, get new ideas and all of the things. And finally, it was where I got my agent. So it holds a very special place in my heart.
So they let you in there at the age of 13. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
You're very kind.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. And that's freaking huge too. Getting an agent, no less. So my goodness, so securing an agent, and if I'm not mistaken, I guess all, or at least most of your books are published, or at least your, I guess your hybrid. You got some through a traditional publisher and some are indie published.
All my books to this point in time are traditionally published. I have two publishers. So I have two series published by Kensington Books and one series by St. Martin's Minotaur.
So the Minotaur, the good old Minotaur, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Hide your nature. That's coming. That's right indeed. So my goodness, so that's freaking huge. So my goodness, so being able to stick with good old traditional publishing houses all this time, like how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, so it's been an interesting journey. When I started writing, I was really focused on more of like the dark side of crime. I mean, all crime is dark, yes, but I was really into like the Dennis Lehanes, the thrillers, that kind of thing. And when an opportunity came up to pitch to an agent, it was for a very specific type of mystery called the cozies, which I had never written and I had never actually thought about writing. But I was like, well, you know what, let's give it a shot, because why would I turn this opportunity down? So I did a proposal for a cozy series. I worked with this agent, and finally, well, it was actually very quickly. I like to say after 10 years of trying, it kind of happened overnight. But I worked on this proposal with this agent, and he sold it within a month. So I was off and running. I had a cozy series. So I was writing that. And as I think I was 3 books in, and he came to me and said that another editor that he worked with at a different publishing house was interested in a similar series based on with the hook being animals, which had kind of become my thing at that point. Because my first series was the Positively Organic Mysteries, which was about a woman who exited her corporate career and became a gourmet pet food chef. So this other editor wanted a series based around cats. And so we came up with the Cat Cafe Mysteries, and that became my second series. And then after that, I ended up so after my first series ended, I started another series with that publisher, and that became my Full Moon Mystery series.
That's right, indeed. All the meows.
Yep.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Gotta love it when you have pets and wonderful cliches and wonderful references on books.
Yeah, I mean, I try to, cozies are interesting because I think sometimes people associate them with very cute and cats and all that. And sure, they can be that, but I've always tried to push the boundaries with my cozies a little bit and make them a little edgier, as much as I can get away with. And I like to always focus on something educational. So there's a lot of rescue themes that run through my books. I really want people to understand that. So my Cat Cafe series is based on a woman who starts a cat cafe, but she's partnering with a local rescue to be able to get more animals adopted more easily. And a lot of the books talk about issues that rescuers face every day, like hoarding or, feral cat colonies that people want removed, and things that cause a lot of conflict that the average person who's not working in these fields don't really know about. So I always try to have some element of education and, promoting animal rescue and all of that good stuff. So I don't want it to just be cute. Although I like, it's nice to have something cute that people also like. And there are very cute cats in it and people like them. But I like to have another layer to it.
There you go. Just like a cake. Gotta have a layer. That's right, indeed.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right, indeed. One of those positive layer cakes. So I'm talking about indeed. So any thoughts on exploring any other genres, even though it's kind of your bread and butter at this point?
Oh, totally. So I'm actually working right now on a suspense novel. It's a book that I had started a long time ago before I got my first cozy contract. I had written it a couple of times. It got very close to being published, and then it kind of fell through. And then I put it aside for many years because I was writing 2 books a year for the most part for the past 10 years or so. But I've recently picked it up and started rewriting it. So I'm hoping to do something with that very soon. So now I'm saying it publicly, so I have to get it done. See that? Can you hold me to it?
Oh, that's right indeed with both hands indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. It's like a hot cup of coffee in a mug. It's like, yep, you gotta use both hands. That's right indeed. Like a
Yep.
sippy cup for no reason. You're keeping us in suspense, Liz.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
That's right indeed. So what do you think the book will be out 2024?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, hey, if I'm really ambitious and can really get it done and find a publisher for it, that'd be great. But I don't know. We'll see. Because I have another book due by the end of the year, so it might be pushing it.
Just put on some salt and pepper. You'll push it real good. You'll be good.
I wish it were that easy. It probably is. I'm probably just overcomplicating it, right?
Yeah, exactly. All you have to do is just put on some cat ears on your head, and you'll channel your inner meow.
Yep.
That's right, indeed.
There's not really cats
Heck,
in this
maybe.
new book though. So
Ooh, so our dog's gonna get some shine.
I don't even have any animals in it in the suspense novel. So I don't know. I'll have to figure out where to add one in. I actually might have one of my main characters have a dog. It's always good to have a dog or something furry, as long as nothing happens to them. I can't write about anything that bad happens to animals. I can kill a lot of people in my books, but never an animal. Sort of a code.
Oh, humans, yeah, they could die. Oh, pets, nah, they can live.
Exactly. Exactly.
Pets don't tell no tales, except for dogs if they're canines. Oh man. So my goodness, so since you've been on quite a few interviews promoting the good work that you're doing, is there a question that you wish folks would ask you more often when you're on the guest side of the microphone?
A lot of what I had been working on as I was working towards getting my contract and my first contract, and even after I had it, was kind of getting back to. I've always been a creative person. I always knew I wanted to write books, but somewhere along the way, someone or multiple someones had suggested that this was not something that could be a sustainable career. And I think hearing that, a lot of people hear that, right? A lot of people who have a creative spark in them from an early age hear that. And I think they let it kind of settle in their brains and affect how they approach their life and their creativity. And I didn't realize this for a long time, but I had kind of had this creative block. I was still writing, but I had this creative block about being able to achieve any kind of success with it, or even, get a decent finished product and get it out there into the world. And the more that I thought about this, and then, over the years, the more I've talked to other writers, I realized just how much of this is out there. I've heard so many people say to me, "Oh, I always wanted to write a book, but, I have a real life and I don't have time," and all this stuff. So last year, I decided that I wanted to help people who really wanted to write their books kind of find their way back to that. And so I started, I am going to answer your question. This is just a roundabout way of getting to it. I started a membership for writers to, give them a place to have that community to cheer them on, the accountability to get their work done, and kind of that container to write in. So I wish people would ask how to get back to writing, or the love of creativity, even if it isn't writing, even if it's just something creative that someone has told you not to do, or that would be a waste of time doing. Sorry about my dog. I think people don't realize how deep-seated some of those blocks can be, and I wish more people were aware that there's a way to get around them.
Woof.
I know they're very loud. Much as I try to mitigate it, they always want to join in on the fun.
Well, I told you had a magnet on you. Oh, but yeah, definitely. You're so right about that. Cause yeah, you're actually so right. Cause like even my myself included, cause sometimes folks will, I'm pretty sure you probably get the question too, like where it's like, man, so after getting the first book done, like, was it easier to write the second and third one? And it's like, yeah, for me, the second one was harder than the first one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, deadlines always help, right? But I think there's a lot of inner work that goes into, like, actually being creative, that it kind of gets back to that point of, like, I don't think people realize that, there are things they can do to overcome what they may be considering a writer's block, but it might be deeper than that. So for me, it was a lot of meditation and incorporating mindfulness practices into my writing work, and really kind of doing that work. I did multiple times. I've done Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way, which has a lot of exercises in there to help you, like, understand why your creativity is blocked and how to get past it, and how to uncover all the old stories that maybe you've been told that's keeping you stuck. And so doing a lot of that work was really what helped me make writing easier and more fun, more enjoyable, and, less pressure, and really just embracing the fact that I have this creativity and I can use it, and I'm supposed to use it. If I have the yearning to use it, that means I'm supposed to use it, and to kind of get comfortable with that.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. The good old MP, the morning pages.
Yeah.
That's right, indeed. That's right,
Yep. They were a
indeed.
lifesaver, really. I mean, morning pages saved my writing life. I really believe that.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, do you still do your morning pages, or what's your routine now for your writing day?
Oh, absolutely. I do morning pages. So every morning I get up. First thing is get my coffee. So that's where Julia Cameron and I differ in opinion. She says, just wake up and start writing. I cannot do anything until I get my coffee. So I do that, and then I do a meditation, then I do my morning pages, and then I usually try to write my word count right then and there before I have to take the dogs for a walk or, whatever it is, just to get that initial boost of writing. And then if I can get back to it later in the day and do more, then that's a bonus.
Good deal. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. No wonder so many books are about cat cafes.
Yep.
uh, there you go. Coffee and cats. That's right indeed. Caffeine and meows. A caffeinated meow.
Coffee and cats. It's the best. Coffee, cats, and books, as they say. Whether you're writing them or reading them, right?
Well, I guess in your case now it's CBD oil, coffee,
Yeah.
books, and dogs.
I still have one cat from all my rescue days. He's about to turn 19. So,
Oh, okay, cool. There we go.
yeah,
So the cape is still on.
it
All right,
is.
it's just not as big.
Just not as big. Yep.
That's right, indeed. She went from Supergirl to just not as Supergirl.
Yeah. I'd like to think I can still retain the title, just given everything I did in the past, right?
There we go. Retired hero. There you go.
Exactly.
That's right, indeed. She's like, all right, I'm going to go to the hero school and teach. They will call me All Might.
Yeah, that's it. I'll teach how to do rescue now versus actually doing it.
That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, so since you're a writing coach, you mentioned the blocks, which we all have to face, especially as parents who have kids who love Legos or just even kids with Legos.
Yeah.
What would you consider your biggest lesson learned from one of your coaching clients that made you a better coach?
So when I started doing this, I thought maybe it was going to be the proximity to understanding the publishing world and how certain genres work that was going to be appealing to people. But what I actually found was that people really want that community. So oftentimes if people, are just starting out or just kind of getting back to writing or wanting to write, they likely don't have that community of like-minded people around them because they've been doing other things with their life. So it's easier to kind of put something off or not focus on it if you don't have people around you that are doing the same thing. So the people that I've worked with, hands down, have said they really appreciate the community. They appreciate getting on a Zoom call and turning off cameras and just writing for 25 minutes and getting that batch of work done, and then being able to talk about it or having some accountability to talk about it. It really has made me, I from the very first time I went to that New England Crime Bait conference and met my people, I could tell how important the community was going to be. And all these years later, it's amazing to see, like, that's what it's really all about. So if you've got the people supporting you, if you've got the like-minded people around you that can push you when you're having a bad day or help you figure out a, dead plot point and revive it a little bit so you get motivated again, like, that's really what it's all about.
Sweet. That's what it's all about, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So Liz got you covered, y'all. So if you need to do the hokey pokey, turn yourself around and realize that's what the writing's all about, she's got you covered. That's right, indeed. With the community. That's right, indeed. Because, yeah, you're so right about the community piece, indeed. Because, yeah, the coaching one-on-one is great, but also community is that extra layer of support. Because, especially depending on the situation, folks may be around other people that really don't get them or get some of the wonderful, wonderful traps that await in certain areas of life, especially in the creativity space, where it's like, I got this great idea.
Right.
It's how to move on to the next one without telling a soul, or I tell one soul and get bored, move to the next one.
Right. Totally. And also just the push to keep going. Like, I've had people say, yeah, I don't know if I know what I'm doing, or, maybe I should think about something else. And it's like, no, just keep doing what you're doing. If you're feeling called to do it, that means something. So, and have fun with it. I think a lot of the times we put so much pressure, and I still do this to this day, but we put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect or to write the perfect book or blog or, whatever it is we're doing. That's not always the point, right? It's not ever the point, actually, because I heard someone say this the other day and it really stuck with me. Perfection is subjective. So what's perfect for you could be a piece of crap to someone else. So really we get so tied up in this idea of perfection, but who's defining that? And, what does that even mean? So I think we all need to have a little bit more fun with our creativity. And I'm including myself in that.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Keeping it fun on the bun, I like it. That's right, indeed. It doesn't even need the honey or the cinnamon, just keeping it fun on a bun, indeed. So, how do you keep it fun for yourself?
Yeah, well, that's a hard question. No, I do. I've really been making an effort to just when I'm sitting down to write every day, I'm not putting so much pressure on, oh, the scene has to be perfect. No, it's like, all right, I have a good idea of where the story's going. So let's see what the characters are going to do today. And if I'm not feeling like it's fun in that moment, I usually write on my laptop. So I'll if I need a different perspective, maybe I'll pick up a notebook and just kind of do some free writing. It feels less prescriptive, I think, doing that. And it gives me more room to play a little bit and maybe look at a different avenue or a different scene than I might have been planning. And that could trigger a whole new direction for the book. So that's what I like to do to have fun.
So no dressing up in a giant cat suit while you're writing
No.
or dog suit.
No, I can't say that I do that. Can't say that I've ever done that, but I did wear cat ears once. I did a 5K and I forget why. I think we had to make a team or something, but we, had cat ears and the whiskers and all that. That was the only time I ever dressed up like a cat.
Meow. I knew you had it in you.
But I don't even think that was my idea, to be honest. I think I was just on the team and that's what we did. So I'm not going to take credit for it.
Oh, don't worry. At least you branched out. That's the name of the game. That's right, indeed. So next time, dog ears.
Exactly.
That's right, indeed. Or maybe just as a whole penguin. That's right. Throw everybody off. And the dogs would be like the humans dressing up weird. He looks like a penguin. Like, she's like, why does she look like a penguin? Like, is she trying to fly? I think she should be a sparrow instead.
I don't know that their process runs that deep, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah. Well, a colleague at my day job, she has this calendar called Thoughts of Dog.
Oh,
So
that's fun.
yeah, and it just talks about how the dog thinks the beach is the big water and it battles to try to get the Skittle from under the fridge. It
Yep.
just stares at it.
Yeah, I've seen my dogs do that.
Yep. Yep, indeed. So hey, you never know. You never know. That's right indeed. So one day you might get a selfie, you with all your books with a random cat ears
Yep.
or dog ears.
If I do that, I will
Or
definitely send it to you.
there you go. I better yet, maybe even a witch's hat be like, yeah, you can magically make these books appear if you tap into your creativity. That's right indeed. That Mugavero magic. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. From Skittles to M&Ms. Well, before that rabbit hole keeps going, a fun question for you, since your fellow podcast host. So, what would you consider your top 3 major lessons learned from starting and running your podcast thus far?
Oh, geez. My top 3. Just start. I kind of thought about it for a while before I did. I mean, obviously, you have to kind of think about it and plan it a little bit, but just start. Don't wait. Just jump in and start testing things and see what feels right to you and what people like. Definitely plan. So I've been, trying to do more of a calendar and plan out more episodes. I've batching that kind of thing. It makes it easier. So you're not kind of scrambling every week, like, oh shoot, I need an episode. So and then my third, just making sure that I jive with the guests so we can have a good conversation. I hate scripted podcasts. I hate when it sounds like people are reading answers or that kind of thing. Like I really want to feel like I have a connection with the guest and that we're going to be able to have a good conversation that my readers or my writers, gosh, Mike, I don't even know what audience I'm talking about, my listeners would be interested in.
I hear you. That's right, indeed. That's why when folks ask for questions before they pop on this podcast, like anything to be prepared for?
Yeah.
Enough to show up and be you, dang gubbit.
Yep.
That's right, indeed. You got a book. You're an expert at something by default.
Yep, exactly.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Heck, even like, and it's a good show indeed, because yeah, just the fact of heck, even going to the past episode too, like managing your wonderful writing project like you're a PMP, like one of your project management professionals, like it's freaking good stuff. That's right, indeed, because there's so many ways for things to do, or should I say, so many ways for folks to do things. But it's like, hey, if you have a plan and work that plan, the creativity may ensue even quicker.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. That's right, indeed. So my goodness, so you got a deadline for another book before the end of the year. Is anything else you're excited about over the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of creating a digital course on how to write a cozy mystery. So I'm really excited about that. I'm working on it now. I'm hoping to launch it later in the fall. So that'll be fun. And then I'm going to open up my membership again, hoping to welcome more writers in and just kind of keep building that community. So lots of cool stuff to look forward to.
So I'm talking about indeed. And I love that you actually drilled down to cozy mystery because folks be like, yeah, of course, write a book. And then it's all the nonfiction business goodness. But it's like, nah, fam. This is where we teach you how to write a cozy mystery. So if you want to write that cozy mystery, Liz has got you covered like a cat's meow.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. She'll probably help your writing career have 9 lives.
That is my goal. That is my goal for all of our writing careers to have more than 9 lives.
Well, speaking of 9 lives, your most recent book that actually launched this week, no less. Congratulations. That's right,
Thank
indeed.
you.
Congratulations, indeed. My goodness, 9 lives and alibis, a cat cafe mystery, part 7 in the 7 book series. If that book were a food, what would it be and why?
Oh, geez. I think it would be a pumpkin whoopie pie because it's centered around Halloween. It's got all the Halloween feels, and I love pumpkin, and that's one of my favorite things is a pumpkin whoopie pie. So that's immediately what comes to mind.
Me like it. That's right, indeed. You're actually the first person to refer to their wonderful book as a pumpkin whoopie pie. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, my goodness. So, since you also do the magical coaching and all this other wonderful good, you probably had some setbacks along the way in your writing journey, having 18 plus books, if there's going to be more coming. So, what would you consider your biggest setback that actually set you up for success?
Oh, wow. I think my biggest setback was my own mindset for a long time, that I still was kind of buying into the whole, oh, this can't be a real career. I have to do this on the side, that kind of thing. So I think once I started looking at that differently and started thinking about all the different aspects of writing that, could be part of my career, it really opened up a whole new world for me. And then, just the idea of approaching it as a business, right? Because I think so often people think of it as, it's positioned as something that has to be done on the side, if at all. And so I think a lot of times we approach it that way and we're like, oh yeah, if I have time, I'll write a few words today. But no, making it more of an actual business and approaching it the way you would any kind of a side gig that's making you money until it becomes a full-time gig that's making you money is important. And so I think once I realized that, I opened up a lot of doors for myself, and still a ways to go, but I think that's the first step.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, you're right, folks. Liz has got the magic for you. Transform your mindset, y'all. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. She don't even need a wand. She got you covered. That's
A wand
right.
helps sometimes. I mean, it would help me personally, but I'm pretty good helping other people.
I'm talking about indeed. Yeah, you're so right. That's kind of funny how that's like the biggest thing, especially if you go on the entrepreneurial side of any social media platform and talk with folks. It's like it's really all about that wonderful mindset. You just got to have your mind ready and get it thinking on what you need it to think on. And that is thinking big and thinking positive, now to make stuff work and how to make things happen. Because if you focus on the bad parts about it and not trying to find a solution for it, then basically going to be in for a bad time.
Yep, totally.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you'd all wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but you're still in the current year, what advice would you give to yourself?
Oh my goodness. Don't worry about a plan B. Focus on the writing and make it happen.
So go raw on your writing journey, y'all.
Go all in. What do you got to lose? Go all in.
No plan B, y'all. Just go raw.
I wasted so much time on plan B, C, D, you name it. Like, no, if I could go back, that's definitely what I would do.
No, I like it. That's what I'm talking about indeed. Because, hey, she's gotten all her books traditionally published, which is a rare feat, especially in today's magical world. For those who like to appear on the show, some folks go traditional way and indie, but she's done all traditional. That's right, indeed. So, all the gingerbread houses made out of brick gingerbread is taking up her wonderful wares and put it out into the world, y'all. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness. So, for those need to keep up with your journey and possibly wear cat ears when they reach out to you and keep up with your journey, what's the best way, folks, to do so?
They can find me at cateconte.com. That's CATECONTE.com. And I'm also on Instagram as both Kate Conte and Liz Mugavero, and Facebook and all the places. But if you start at my website, you can find me everywhere.
Woo! Well, there you have it, folks. That's right, indeed. Kate the champ, Liz the lovely legend that is. That's right, indeed. The cozy mystery legend on the freaking earth. That's right, indeed. She's got you covered like a blanket, y'all. It's going to put a link to all of her wonderful wares in the show notes and as well as our podcast as well. So that way you can subscribe to it as well. So you can add some more goodness for your ears. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, any parting words before we close up shop?
Just thank you so much for having me. I love to talk about writing. I love to talk about people embracing their creativity, and it just makes me happy. So thank you.
If you're hearing this part of the episode, that means you're one cool individual. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, and if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to share it with at least one other person in your network. Bonus points for 3. And be sure to check out the backlog too while you're at it, because there are hundreds of wonderful episodes to choose from as well.